In this week's lesson, we're going to be comparing properties of matter. For this week's lesson, you will need to know the volume, how to find the volume of a figure. So the volume is the amount of space an object takes up. And the volume can be found in an object by multiplying the length times the height times the width. So here's the length here, this is the width, and then times the height. So it's very similar to area, you just have to add another step. So let's just say that we measured this object, and we measured the length to be 5 centimeters. And then we measured the width, this part here, to be 2 centimeters. And then when we measured the height of this object, it was 6 centimeters. If I wanted to find, oops, that's the centimeters there. If I wanted to find the volume of this object here, I would have to do 5 times 2 times 6. And those are all centimeters. So 5 times 2 is 10, and 10 times 6 is 60. So the volume of this object would be 60 centimeters cubed because there's 3 centimeters there. So let me show you one more time how to find the volume of an object. So here I have a rectangular prism, and I would like to find the volume. So first I would need to measure the length, the width, and the height. So if I measured this object, let's say I got 8 inches. Let's say I was measuring in inches this time. I got 8 inches for the length, and I got 3 inches for the width, and then I measured and I got 5 inches for the height. If I am looking at my formula, length times width times height, I would have to do 8 times 3 times 5. So I could do 8 times 3 is 24. 24 times 5, well, I don't know that off the top of my head, so I need to do it. So 24 times 5, 4 times 5 would be 20. And then 5 times 2 would be 10 plus 2 more is 12. So it would be 120 inches cubed. In your STEM journal, I want you to try the volume of an object as well. So I'm going to give you some measurements, and I want you to see if you can solve this one on your own. Remember that the formula would be length times width times height, and see if you can solve this one on your own. So I'd like the length of this to be 10 centimeters, and the width of this one will be 3 centimeters, and the height of this one will be 6 centimeters. And you can solve that one in your STEM journal. Make sure you bring it to class. If we were looking for the volume of a liquid, we wouldn't be able to multiply those numbers. So we would probably use a tool such as this graduated cylinder or this flask to help us understand how much volume this liquid is filling in the space. So if you take a look at this flask right here, it actually looks like it fills up this flask to 400, which would be 400 milliliters. So the volume of this flask here would be 400 milliliters. I want you to try one on your own, trying to find the volume of the liquid. Let's use this beaker. Now, this one's a little tricky because if you notice where the water line is on this beaker, it actually goes above the 100 that's already marked. So you're going to have to really think through what you think the volume of this liquid would be. You can record this answer in your STEM notebook as well. The last thing you'll need to know for this week's lesson is how to read a thermometer. So let's take a look at this thermometer here. I'd like for you to be able to know the Fahrenheit and Celsius degrees. So if you take a look at this thermometer here, the mercury is actually up to the 30 degrees Celsius. That one's not so hard. So that would be 30 degrees Celsius. If I'm looking at the Fahrenheit, however, I need to look at the markings between the intervals. So this is 80 and 90. So I know it's between 80 and 90, but there's only 4 marks between those numbers. So I can't go 81, 82, 83, 84, because then 90 would not work. So I have to know that those intervals are actually by 2s. So it would be 82 would be there, and then 84, 86, 88, and 90. So they're counting by 2s. So if my mercury is on the 3rd line above that, it would be 80, 82, 84, 86. So now my mercury would be on 86 degrees Fahrenheit. So it would be 30 degrees Celsius and 86 degrees Fahrenheit. I'd like for you to try one on your own in your STEM notebook. So let's take a look at this thermometer. This thermometer actually is measuring the room temperature right now where I'm at. So I would like for you to read in Fahrenheit and in Celsius. So I would like degrees Fahrenheit, degrees Celsius. Remember to look at those intervals to make sure that you're counting the right number up. So like on this one here from 20 to 30, there's not 9 lines there, so I can't count by ones. I'd actually have to be counting by twos, and the same is true for the other side as well. So see if you can determine what the temperature is on this thermometer. So in your STEM notebook for Thursday or Friday, whenever I see you, I'm going to look to see that you've completed 3 questions in your STEM notebook. The first one was the volume of the solid, the second one was the volume of the liquid, and the third is this the temperature on this thermometer. So get those completed in your notebook so you can participate in the activities right away on Thursday or Friday. I'll see you then.